time it is. Marvin Devine, Hoover, Axel, and you know how we do. Yeah, I got the juice, yeah, I got the juice. Whip game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing. I've been making loot since like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, wanna get in my crew, but you can't get in my crew. Me, Axel, and Hoover, way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the troops. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof. You already know what happens when we link up. Let's go. Yeah, I got the
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're watching. Welcome to another episode of Kidney Disease. I'm sorry, wow, Kidney Hub East Africa. Your host, Steve, the Kidney Nurse. We definitely have an important show. And as we are experiencing some internet connect issues. But today, we're going to discuss, no matter how long it takes, discuss part, something that is rarely talked about in the kidney community. Now, check this out before I bring in my co-host. When you make a life with someone, you know what I mean? You hope everything will go smoothly. You know what I'm talking about? When you get in a relationship, marriage, whatever you want to call it. And when you spend that time with someone, you hope that everything will go smoothly. Unfortunately, life can throw curveballs like kidney disease. It can just come out of nowhere. Next thing you know, like, what's going on? However, what you need to know from your partner in the way of support will change when you're on dialysis. Again, what you need from your when you're on dialysis Now, if you describing the support you need, we have compiled a list of helpful tips that other people situation. So to help me unpack this, let me bring on the kidney ambassador all the way from Kisumu, Kenya, no other than Brother Brother Moses. Good evening, brother. How are you doing?
Good evening, Brother Steve. I'm good. I'm doing great. I'm glad we are back today, this Sunday, presenting this show. And hopefully, our viewers, it is always our wish to give you the best. You are most welcome, viewers. Thank you so much. My name is Moses Kennedy.
Okay. So Brother Moses, thank you for joining in today. I know that the internet can be tricky at times. From your, but let's talk about this because you have some personal experience with this. So we know when a person is undergoing dialysis, it's important for them to have an open. And so we're going to talk about some things to some topics to consider when discussing it. Now, you yourself went through this same situation with your spouse. Brother Moses, can you hear me?
I lost you. The
I
last
said
one.
You have experience because you did have a partner, a spouse when you started this journey, correct?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, when it was time for you, and we're going to talk in general, but when it was for you to this situation with your spouse, how did she handle it?
Well, it was not easy, just like any other human being, to take it and to accept the new norm that now life has changed and everything has to be adopted to the new norm. So yes, it is not an easy thing. It is so delicate to the extent that even relationships are threatened. Yes.
Absolutely. So let's go over some topics. Just been diagnosed with kidney failure and they're in a relationship, whether they're either married or have a partner. Now, the first one, understanding dialysis. Now, this is a big because when this hits someone's life that has a spouse or a partner that doesn't know about the condition, then it makes it kind of difficult because say the person who just got diagnosed, if they don't understand it, how are they bringing it to their partner and spouse? So, as we would say, explain what dialysis is, why it is necessary, and how it works. Now, this helps in the process involved. Do you agree with that, Brother Moses?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yes. Because even the procedure itself, the dialysis itself, most people has no idea of what it is and what really leads to that. So yes, it is it is very important to make your spouse understand uh, what it's all about, and then from there you can build on a conversation that can culminate into productive ways of taking care of it. Yes.
Absolutely. Now, the second one I want to talk about this tip over in
Okay.
East Africa. We know over in East Africa, in some parts, that one may have to pay out of their pocket for a dietitian. So, how do one, when it comes to one doesn't have a facility dietitian to help both the patient and the spouse or partner learn what foods are okay or what to use in moderation and what to brothers and sisters in East Africa who just got diagnosed learn about their dietary needs. How did you learn, Brother Moses, when you first got diagnosed?
Uh, Brother Steve, personally, I crashed into dialysis, and the entire 2 weeks were very critical in my life, and I was unable to, for 2 weeks, the last week in hospital, you know, um, I lost memory, and I didn't know what is happening until at a time when it was about 3 days to be discharged. That is when the memory began to resume, and then I was taken in by my own mom, who was taken and cancelled, and then taken through a rough idea of about dietary requirement. And from there, we just had a sketch of it, which she explained to me. And then the rest, I got through studies and my raw personal research that enabled me to, get to know more about uh, my diet. Uh, yes.
Brother Moses,
So,
let me
yes.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it took me an effort to, to search knowledge from social media articles, all over. Then I used to get confused many a times, but I will interrogate where I get confusion severally, and that is how I've been moving. Doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that today I don't still get confused. I get confused. especially dietary requirement is one of the most confusing aspect when it comes to managing CKD.
Yeah, and see, that's why it's important. Board nurse Nakuru out of Kenya, and she's a dialysis nurse as well. And that's why we need more cohorts like Nurse Nakuru over in Kenya. Access to dietary or to a dietitian to help understand what you can and cannot eat. Okay, Brother Moses, let me ask you this. Another tip, a spouse or a partner that could help is going to the doctor visits with them as an extra set of ears and taking notes. This can be very hard for, because you have some people who go on appointments and the doctor is saying so much that can be overwhelming that maybe it should be a second pair of ears. Over in Kenya, do you see many spouses of individuals that are on dialysis at your unit or any unit you went to and went to doctor's appointments?
Oh yes. You kept freezing, but then I got you. What happens is that you know a spouse forms immediate social support, and maybe out of ignorance, yeah, for some few cases, spouse just get tired of having a chronic illness patient, because you realize that most of the spouse or partners here in Kenya, or even patient themselves, are not well informed about how chronic illnesses operates in our bodies, because they give it an approach that we want to tackle it and finish it all. And then the moment it is impossible, the moment they realize that this condition is here to stay, then they really quit so early. They get tired on the way. Now, the few that understand that concept based on how chronic illnesses works in our body, they normally, I've seen them accompany their spouse to doctor's appointment. But again, there are other factors that can deter spouse accompanying you to such appointment. Things like lost wages or time, sufficient time to spend with your spouse, or the financial ability to make you mobile, both of you, to and fro. So those one also comes into play. But then I've seen those who really got the knowledge try as much as possible to walk the journey with their spouses, Brother Steve.
Yes, yes. So, Brother Moses, let's talk about treatment schedule. If one just got diagnosed that has to go on dialysis, whether you're here in the United States or over in Kenya, you have a treatment schedule. No matter where you're at, it's going to be a treatment schedule. Your treatment schedule may be 3 days a week, twice a week, as it is in Kenya. But whatever it is, make sure you discuss the treatment schedule, including the frequency and durations of treatment with your partner and spouse. This will help in planning daily activities and managing time effectively. What are your thoughts on that, Brother Moses? And discussing the treatment schedule with your partner or spouse. So now you can make or help in planning daily activities and manage time effectively around this treatment schedule. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh,
And anyone
yes.
else who want to talk about it?
Oh, yes. Sometimes, the hospital also, the facilities also has their own schedule. So it is, patients are forced sometimes to get into the hospital schedule, not the hospital getting into your schedule. So that one also becomes a challenge at times because, for example, if there is a disruption, you wake up one morning and you realize that you were supposed to get in by maybe 7 a.m. You realize the water plant, there is a breakdown, water plant. And then it has to take time to be serviced and then to put it operational. And then by the time everything is set, it's maybe even noon. Now, you realize instead of getting in 7 a.m., you get in noon. So, Brother Steve, can't you see the next lot, if at all you are to come second session, you realize you will get in maybe at 4. So there's completely disruption. Those are scenarios whereby sometimes we get we must get into their own schedule. But on normal circumstances, the hospital gives sometimes a very strict schedule because there could be demand or there could be low demand, depending on the unit one goes. And that is how things operate, Brother Steve. Yes.
You froze up. I didn't hear the last part, brother.
Okay. I was Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Brother Steve? So
Say
I
that
was
again?
referred. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I was referring to a scenario where one has to fit into the schedule of a facility, but not not facility getting into our own schedule. In normal circumstances, you go make an agreement with a particular schedule that suits you. Say if you are available afternoon hours or nocturnal hours or morning hours. But then, for example, if there is disruption, perhaps there is a breakdown of water plant, and then it takes time to fix that. You realize that if you were to go 7 a.m., then you will go at noon. So what about those who are supposed to come in second session? They will come in around 4. So what about those who will be at nocturnal? It means it will be carried forward to the next day. So that and many more happens in most facilities.
Mm-hmm. It almost sounds like a domino effect.
Sorry?
I said it almost sounds like if that was to happen, it would be a domino effect. Like, is that what I'm hearing?
No, still you are freezing.
I said it sounds like that each shift, if there was an issue, that each shift will end. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, yes. Whenever there is an issue, each shift will have to compromise.
Okay.
Yes.
Third third thing that should be discussed, and that is physical and emotional impact. The physical and emotional impact. Because again, a lot of this stuff doesn't get talked about. Don't. Now, when it comes to the physical and emotional impact, we're talking about sharing how dialysis might affect energy levels, mood. Important for the partner to understand the potential physical and emotional challenges, because one may not understand that and don't know. Can you discuss that? The physical and emotional impact, how dialysis might affect energy levels, mood, and overall well-being.
Oh, yes. I know of how the effect of treatment affect individuals. It varies, but then just energy loss or fatigue or mood change, those are just basic and very common to almost all patients. But then I would recommend out of experience, because if you don't explain really what challenges you after dialysis, then your spouse or your partner might not understand. She might be, or he might be in a state of confusion, could be wondering why today you've got low spirit, or you are so moody, or you are not interested in so many things, or you keep on sleeping most of your time. So it is very important to to disclose, in other words, with your spouse, how and how you feel normally after the treatment. And this discussion must not be done on the after dialysis, but on your days when you are in high spirit, Brother Steve.
Yes, because the mood can change from 1 minute to another. So that's why it's important to your partner, someone you may be in a relationship with, don't understand this. They may not know and get overwhelmed. And then the next thing you know, they're like, I don't know if I could deal with this. Number
Absolutely,
5.
very true.
I'm sorry, number 4. Let's talk about the dietary and fluid restrictions. Talk about any dietary changes or fluid restrictions that need to be followed. This can affect meal planning and social activities involving food and drinks. Again, if your spouse Also, how can they help prepare in meal planning, or if you go out, know what you can or cannot have, or how much fluid taken in between treatments? What are your thoughts on that, Brother Moses?
Yes, uh, this is where the confusion lies when it comes to meal planning and dietary restrictions, because sometimes we fail to interrogate where we get information from, and as if that is not enough, sometimes we get all the information right, but we keep on confusing. For example, um, when you are in other forms of CKD, it is recommended that you reduce protein intake, but it becomes also a requirement when uh, uh, when you are on dialysis. You need to take more protein. So you see, such like the difference makes one that who is not much careful get confused. And then another thing, uh, sometimes it is not about discarding, uh, putting certain food away completely, but the language used is to reduce, to limit the intake. So these and many more makes us get confused. But then it's still good to seek professional advice if you can afford, and then so that you can move forward, Brother Steve.
The unfortunate thing about kidney warriors over in East Africa, many of those places, that you have to pay out of your pocket for
Absolutely.
dietary or nutritional services that he pretty much comes when you go to the clinic. You are allowed a dietitian, social worker to help you with social needs, the whole kidney team. But over in East Africa, again, many warriors have to come out of their pocket and pay for these services. And that's why we do this show, and it's called Kidney Hub East Africa.
Absolutely, Brother Steve.
Getting warriors, the challenge is getting warriors over in East Africa to this show to get the information and to try to implement the fifth let me get to it, topic one should discuss is lifestyle adjustment. Lifestyle adjustment, because for many people, I don't care if you here in the United States, you're in East Africa, wherever you at undergoing kidney dialysis, there's going to be a lifestyle adjustment. I don't care who you are. And this is the time changes that might be necessary, such as adjustments in work, travel, or social activities? What if you had a couple or someone that had a partner, or they were always traveling, or they were always going out, or they were social butterflies? And now when this happens, the spouse is like, or the partner's like, what's wrong? You can't travel. And one has to talk about the adjustments that's going to be necessary because of whether it's the treatment schedule, how one feel, or other challenges that one may be experiencing as a result of treatment. Brother Moses, did you want to elaborate on lifestyle adjustments and discussing that with
Absolutely. Absolutely.
one's?
Yes. Definitely. You have to adjust your lifestyle because there are things, stuff you used to do, but then with the same condition, you are forced to either change or find something else, including even career paths. There are other career paths that when you are on dialysis treatment, definitely you need to adjust because you can't make it due to several reasons. And again, if 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 that is not enough, socially, uh, you are still affected. You need to adjust. If you have to maybe travel, it, it is an entire planning. It is an entire planning that it that involves making sure that everything is set where you are traveling to. There is dialysis and maybe how you can tackle other challenges like complication while on travels, So definitely you have to adjust. It's a big challenge, a big challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Now I know one may be watching this, could be in the situation, say, uh, uh, sorry, easier said than done. Like we can repeat this and talk about this, but actually implementing it could be challenging for many people. But communication is communication. Now let's talk about support needs. Number 6, because many people may frown on asking for, they may shy away from it. But one should be open about the kind of support that's needed, whether it's emotional support or assistance with daily tasks. What are your thoughts on that, Brother Moses?
Brother Steve, I must be very honest. Uh, Sometimes when you request for support, Brother Steve, you are deemed to be demanding too much because unless one has undergone through this condition or experienced hands-on, maybe through other previous loved ones, or at least has an idea about what this condition is, then might understand. But then that is the most difficult thing when you ask for support, any form of support. Sometimes you might be even considered a burden. And that is why most warriors, including myself, I'm really afraid of asking for such support unless I'm really in dire need of it, that it is now minimum irreducible, Brother Steve. It is not easy to ask, especially in our African setup. You ask for support today, tomorrow they will give the support. The third day, they get tired. They really get tired, and they are actually got bored about it. And I mean, they do not want to hear any kind of stuff from you. And that is the most challenging thing.
Oh, Brother Moses here, because you have many warriors who are on the transplant list that may have to raise funds for medication, post-transplant, and other necessities that's set up. So it's almost the same over here, because again, when one gets diagnosed with kidney failure or kidney disease and has to go on treatment, life doesn't stop. Those keep rolling in. The mortgage or the apartment rent, the light bills, the water bills, or any other kind of bills that's due on a monthly basis. This doesn't stop because one has kidney failure. And this is where, for many people, the need for, you have warriors probably just like over in East Africa, same as here, that they may get a stipend or some type of money and got to make want to pay this bill or get medicine. What do one do when you're faced with that, when it's either your blood pressure medicine or paying the light bill or getting groceries? To make. Brother Moses, let's talk about the next one, which is definitely important, that one should discuss with their partner or spouse. About situation. And this is where it may be the straw that breaks the camel's back in that relationship. Because say if one never experienced an emergency situation and with the, so that's why one should discuss what to do in case of an emergency related to dialysis. What should one do? That's what you're going to discuss. See, related to dialysis, such as recognizing signs of complications and knowing when to seek medical help. So one may just start dialysis and they come home and say they didn't discuss with their partner or spouse some of the side effects that can go with hemodialysis. So one comes home, maybe it's the third, fourth treatment. They get picked up by their spouse. They coming out to the car, get it, and the partner or spouse may say, maybe we should go to the hospital. Just not like you. And you go to here in the United States, and a lot of hospital ERs, some people waiting up to 20 hours to be seen. 15 to 20 hours. And then once you get seen, only to be told there's nothing wrong, and they send you home. When if you knew that these symptoms that this person was experiencing, it would have saved you 15, 20 hours sitting in the emergency room. And this is where the education comes in and talking about this. So if you're in this situation, you don't waste your time. You know how to distinguish when to go to the emergency room and when to stay home. And for our brothers and sisters over in East Africa, especially in Kenya, I don't know how many hospitals or how one may get to the hospital. I don't know if they got Uber or Lyft or cab service, or because if one doesn't have transportation, Moses has said on many times when he had to go to the National Hospital for his access, he had to travel hours. He had to travel up to, I don't know, brother, you said maybe 12 hours to get to where you needed to go to get seen.
6 hours, yes.
Well, 6 hours. 6 hours is like from me riding from my house to South Carolina, North Carolina. That's a long damn way for somebody to ride to go to the hospital, when here in the United States, some people may have the hospital right around the corner from their house. So definitely discuss what to do in an emergency that's related to your dialysis treatment. Anything you want to elaborate on with that, Brother Moses?
Oh, yes, because this is at this particular time when we experience, when our spouse, our partner experience some form of emergency, what to be done, or a complication that necessitates emergency. Your spouse must get to understand what can be done next, or what is the first thing to be done first. So that is very important to be discussed, Brother Steve.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you. Let's talk about number 8, which is probably a challenge for many warriors over in East Africa. We're going to talk about this again tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, USA, on Kidney Life Unfiltered. With myself and Kayla, because this is something that a lot of people who are dealing with the disease, not just in East Africa, but all over the world, are not discussing. And that's financial consideration. Financial considerations. Not everybody is rich. Considerations, one may want to talk about the financial aspects of dialysis treatment, including insurance coverage, out-of-pocket costs, and any potential impact. And that can encompass a lot, because one of the people on TikTok was saying that it does changes the roles of individuals. If you're the breadwinner and kidney failure has entered your life and now you got to start treatment, how is that going to impact your income? Are you still? And if not, will your partner or spouse pick up the slack? And this is where the rubber. Brother Moses, anything you want to elaborate on when it comes to financial considerations with treatment costs?
Oh, yes. Really, Brother Steve, this is a very long conversation because we have seen relationship breakups due to financial constraint or bad blood between relatives and friends due to financial constraints. And now, even to our own spouses and partners, sometimes a patient might lose an income due to illness simply because, say, the organization doesn't renew his or her contract in a way, just like in my case, because you are not productive. So when you are rendered not productive, then there's no income that you can earn, and then you just become nobody, because the society we are today, you are worshipped when you can pay your bills, and you can even when you have the material. In other words, that is the sad reality, the society we are today. When you don't have that possession, everybody deserts you, and even your phone calls. Sometimes you just want to say hi to people you are acquainted to or friends, and then you are assumed. So financial loss of income really impact all warriors, all of them. You remember, Brother Steve, even if, for example, you are a family man and you lose your income, ability to earn an income, even the respect, that is humanity. The respect
Absolutely.
the respect that used to be there, it depreciates. And then to the extent then others can decide even to abandon you, and that is the sad reality. So yes, it has the most greatest impact on kidney warriors.
Got two more to discuss. This next one is definitely one to discuss, because when one get in this position, they may have to take it one day at a time, and that's long-term planning. One may want to discuss any long-term health goals and any plans for kidney transplantation, if that is an option being considered. With our brothers and sisters in East Africa, transplant options are limited. And Brother Moses, discuss what one has to do.
Sorry?
I say, can
What
you
one has?
discuss what one may have to do to get a transplant in Kenya?
Oh yes, it's really a tedious process. Tedious in the sense that there are set protocol that are so rigid. For example, you need to get a matching donor and must come from within your relatives. So if in this case he is not a relative, already there is a setback. And remember, Brother Steve, sometimes we say a kidney disease runs in a family. If one has, if there is a history of maybe diseases like rare diseases like lupus that might run in a family, you realize, yes, there is a match, but then one is also a lupus patient, or the entire family is diabetic. I mean, or somebody who is willing, you understand, or somebody who is willing to donate is diabetic because, say, family history. And that restriction alone puts pressure on the need of getting donors to come forward. However, there are all other setbacks that might arise. There are conditions that comes in that still within the renal industry in Kenya, they might not handle. Some for example, if you are doing maybe the second transplant, maybe one failed due to one reason, and then you are doing another one, it might not be a walk in a park. Sometimes you might even referred to places like India. So it is really a tall order, Brother Steve. And again, the pre-transplant tests that are being done, are done at one central point that takes time to get, back the results, take them to your nephrologist, and then interpret and, move. It is just that back and forth until when you are done. And another thing, the cost implication involved when one has to take part in this process, especially on the donor's side. Um, uh, uh, the money that sometimes the government gives to fund is not enough. So the recipient is forced to cater for the donor, including other expenses. So it is, even if, say, for example, if they say it's about $30,000, then there are other costs that are not factored in. Going to transplant center, accommodation, meals, transport back, if all that is factored, it becomes really a tedious process, Brother Steve.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot. All right. Our last topic that one may want to consider to discuss is communication, and basically establish a plan for ongoing communication to ensure both partners feel heard this journey. Again, communication is a big key. By discussing these, I'm sorry, by communication to ensure both partners feel heard and supported throughout the dialysis journey. That is, communicating what you need is key to maintaining a healthy relationship. You got to communicate what you need. Brother Moses, you have any uh, in the show with communication?
Well, it is key. I just want to echo on what you have mentioned. It is key to any form of relationship, because that is where we understand each other. And besides that, you can also communicate all that pertains to your condition, or how your feelings are, or how you want everything to be done in a manner that satisfies you, Brother Steve. So yes, it is key.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, again, by discussing these topics, both partners can work to manage the challenges of dialysis and maintain a strong, supportive relationship. Again, discussing the topics at hand, communicate to possibly maintaining a healthy relationship. You're going to may have some people to just say, hey, I can't do it. And so is the key. So, Brother Moses, as we wrap down and to the closing of the show, is there anything you want to say before we end the broadcast about anything?
Oh yes. To all kidney warriors, kindly make an attempt of always disclosing everything to your spouse, so that and even take time to engage each other regarding the process you are going through. In this manner, she or he will be able to, work with you the journey throughout. Thank you so much.
All right, Brother Moses, again. Even though without you dropping, so that's that's a success. Even though we still had little issues, we still got through the show without you being dropped down or one who came by, supported the show, who may have asked any questions or made any comments. Again, we're here mostly every Sunday. USA, and from 8 to 9 p.m. East Africa time. So until next week, thank you for joining the broadcast, and we'll see you again for another broadcast of Kidney Hub. You for coming on. I know it's a challenge each Sunday, especially with the internet connection, but you definitely appreciate it. And we'll see you next week. Same time, same station. All right. See you then.